Hey everyone, this is Marathon Money and it's your boy Kenny Coins, and you know who I'm with again, Cary Artac from wickedstocks.com. Man, it's been amazing. I know a lot of people love him. I see the comments. He's the man. He's very good at the technical, but man, I'm glad he's back. We're back for another week. I just want to do like the broad market real quick. It's been a tough few weeks. It seems like last week was a little better than before. You know, February is beginning of March and late February was very tough on people's portfolios, 401ks, Roth, whatever you hold your stocks in, but individual accounts. But besides that, man, what like I know we're gonna go over the broad market, Cary, but what do you personally think is like really going on?
Well, I think there's kind of a wait and see. I think, as I recall, April 4th is going to be a big day for tariffs. Once again, that's a week from this Friday with respect to possible action against Mexico and Canada. I mean, this all remains to be seen. So, in fact, let me show the S&P 500 right now, and this is actually a
A hundred,
perfect.
100%. Before we move forward, I was wanted to know it's like any of like we're about to go through a slew of stocks. Any of these stocks was like, should we make a move before April 4th or after April 4th? Is that something that we should consider a factor before we go down this list of stocks?
I think you can
In your
act
opinion?
before. I'm a technician, technical. If and all these most of these charts are testing long-term chart formations that have consequences into later year, and so we're testing them now. For the most part, you'll see a series of them. That being true, I think you can just act. And now, obviously, you have to exercise a decent risk management. Put your stop loss below the market. That doesn't represent a large portion of your trading capital and let it ride out. Now, if you want to wait till after April 4th, fine. It's just that some of these stocks are right at the opportunity right now for much better price location than the market might provide you 2 weeks from now. So you may
Let's
be
check.
giving
Let's
up.
check. Let's check them out.
Okay, sounds great.
Let's see.
I'll go ahead and present, uh, share my screen. Here we are. Okay. So I got a whole slew of stocks here, but I'll start with the S&P 500 because this makes my point. All these charts that I'm going to be showing are weekly charts, and this is a repeat of what I've been showing now for the last few podcasts. That we had what I would call a near-term sell signal below the 58.16 channel bottom 3 weeks ago. Now, sometimes this can turn into a long-term sell signal because you've got all this consolidation, a lot of back and forth for about 3 months, and the market sells off and breaks this. But because we've got this 2 year channel bottom right below it at 55.13, this is the S&P 500 index, is the underlying index. I could have added some decimals here, but I just rounded up. 55.13 is your base of support, 2 year channel bottom. In other words, the rally that we've seen, this series of higher highs and higher lows since October 22, remains intact. The momentum of that remains intact. 2 year bullish momentum intact above 55.13. If given the opportunity to buy this formation, we came very close to it a couple of weeks ago. This is really where I think you can buy the S&P 500 through the rest of the year. 58.16, if settled above, would be a significant show of strength. I think if we close above 58.16 over the next few weeks, we've got a good low, and we should, within about 3 to 5 months into the third quarter, reach the 64.65 year channel top. But until then, this is a battle, really, between 58.16 ceiling, 55.13 floor. Odds favor 55.13 winning the day, if you will, because of its longer term structure. But if we get into an all out tit for tat reciprocal trade war or tariff war that continues to play out into later Q2, then we will get the sell signal below 55.13, and that would indicate a return to the 48.18 high from January of 22. And I think
Quick
as the year
question
plays
before
out, go ahead.
quick question before just to stick on the what is the percentage chance for the people out there? What is the percentage chance of this like this tariff war tick for tat happening on April 4th?
I think it could be the beginning that, okay, he's serious. I'm talking about the President Trump. But then you're going to have Mexico and Canada ratchet things up. They will respond. There's already that sort of mood in the air. This is my opinion, of course. So I'm just going from my gut, not necessarily the charts. I think the chances are good that if we do act and throw the hammer down on April 4th, that maybe not immediately, but within a week or two, you may see a settlement below 55.13. And that, for me, technically, oftentimes you get the signal
Yeah.
technically before everything begins to play out fundamentally. If we close below
Yeah.
55.13, yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why I ask is for like the people out there. It's like if you think there's a strong chance that they're gonna be tick for tat, if you're gonna make a play before April 4th, would shorting the
I
SPY
would
would be the play to do.
Yeah, you could. This is the S&P 500. The SPY is going to have. I mean, for your listeners and for your viewers, 5816 has its own equivalent in the SPY. It's around 581. 5513 has its own equivalent in the SPY. It's around 551.3. These are not exact numbers. I think you can keep one eye on the S&P 500 index at these levels that I'm showing and trade the SPY. Um, I would just go with if your listeners are bearish and they're looking for an opportunity to sell the market, there's two ways to go about doing it. Either sell strength at 58.16 or sell weakness with a settlement below 55.13. If they're bullish and they think we're going to get through this without too much damage economically, then you're buying the market either at a 55.13 or a settlement above 58.16. It's about as simple as that. Um, I'll move on to, let's see, Apple. Apple's been testing. I mentioned this 5-year channel top at 265.88. We tested that in December. And I'd mentioned how after testing this 5-year channel top, you have to respect this market's possibility for falling into the lower 180s later in the year. And I'd also mentioned I don't really see that as a crystal clear objective unless we violate these channel structures. So Apple's been testing this 9-month channel bottom for 2 weeks at 212.50 this week. This is an area you can buy. And from here, we can, over the next 3 to 5 months, third, fourth quarter of this year, rally back into the mid 260s and climbing. On the other hand, if we close this week below 209.28, I see no good reason to own Apple if your time horizon is 2 to 3 months out, because the 181 channel bottom is then likely. Now, at 181, you've got a 5-year channel bottom where we could bottom out through the rest of the year and even into 26. And from here, turn back up again. Let's see. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's a big deal right now. And I've shown this chart on your show the last few weeks. We have broken on an intra-week basis, tested certainly this 82,965 to 83,421 area, but we have not closed below it. My system is a settlement-based system, so you can break these levels during the week, but unless you close below them, there is no sell signal. So as sloppy as it's been, these levels, rising 1/3 speed line off that 22 low and a long-term 5-year channel top that we settled above last November, they all come together, 82,965 to 83,421. And as long as we do not close below this zone, this is a get long zone for Bitcoin. And I'm still anticipating, I don't know about in the next 3 to 5 months anymore, but maybe later in the year, this A minus B plus A full 100% swing at 122,433 in reach. I'm going to zoom in to this chart for Bitcoin. And this shows your 82,229. That's the area I just showed a moment ago. This is your breakout, I think, as we move into May, June, July. 91,056, 92,650, descending channel top over the last 4 weeks, former channel bottom over the last few months. This is an area, 91,056 and 92,650, that can contain buying through April. And from here, we could fall back into the lower 80,000 area again. That's significant long-term support. But if we can close above 92,650 over the next month or so, then we're on our way. I see bullish resumption 105,111, the high settlement price, likely within 3 to 5 weeks. And yeah, possibly within 2 to 3 months of closing above 92,650, we could see that 122,433 area. One last thing about Bitcoin is that if we fall apart and close this week below 82,295, then I see a good high probably for the year. And I do think that the 68,000, 73,000 area, while it can contain weekly, possibly monthly selling pressures, I do think a settlement below 82,291 carries with it the very real possibility of the upper 40,000 area. This rising 2/3 speed line is an objective below the rising 1/3 speed line. This rises through time. And I think that would be the likely outcome for Bitcoin. Do you have anything you want to say about that, Kenny?
Man, like I said, for the past 2 weeks, I would love to have Bitcoin back at like in the $68,000 range. It's an opportunity. $48,000 would be even better, but that's half of what it is right now.
Yeah, this would be
But
about a 50% decline,
yeah,
correct? Yeah.
it'll be about half, but it's been at this 80 high 78,000, 79,000 mark for a while now. It's been like kind of stuck there. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be range bound, like I said a week and a half ago, that I think it's gonna be range bound for a while until tariffs. I know Trump is big doing the crypto thing, and everything is kind of like definitely with Bitcoin is I think people are just holding steady.
Mm-hmm.
The currency market for Bitcoin is kind of holding steady. It doesn't seem that there's too much big wild swings like there usually be, because with Bitcoin, you wake up one morning, it's at 92, wake up the next morning, or like 5 hours later, it's at 78,000. We just haven't seen those a lot lately. It's just been,
Yeah, we had a lot of
it just,
volatility a month ago, but it's definitely
yeah,
things have quieted down in the market.
yeah,
I think it's wait and see. April 4th,
yeah,
I think, is the next big level,
yeah,
and we'll just see. I think April 4th is going to tell us whether he's serious about continuing to ratchet things up and really shifting the economic order of things, which I think is going to wreak a lot of volatility in the market, and I think it'll be
correct.
received as bearish, at least for a while, until things begin to play out differently. Or is it just a bluffing game? Is there a room to work things out, and will they get busy doing so? And if that occurs, then I see we'll see a resumption in these bull markets. But not until then. I'll take us back to the S&P. I think this says everything for me right now. This is sort of the two-sided dynamic through April. And then the market tips its hand one direction or in the other upon settlement outside this area. I'm going to show
Can I ask you a
Amazon.
question before you move
Yeah.
forward? Like, can you tell me what you would do? You have, they say, $1,000, $1,500. What would you do tomorrow
Mhm.
morning with this information that we're giving out?
Well, I would have a resting bed. Now, I do a daily SPY report, a daily triple Q report in wickedstocks.com. And so I've got nearer term levels to trade, 3 to 5 day swing trades. And on your show, I'm pretty much showing all big picture stuff because to break it down into the narrower and narrower time frames is time consuming. And within a matter of days, it becomes irrelevant because you've got structures that are changing at a very fast pace. But what I
Correct.
would
That's,
do, I,
yeah. Go ahead.
I would bottom pick this 5,500 area, and I would take profits at 5,800. We could see both before April 4th. Over the next 2 weeks, we could hit both extremes, perhaps. In fact, I can throw one other number here at you. This is a level that held last week. It is the high of the low, and that is 57,005. And so, I would say if we close Monday in the S&P 500 above 5705, we've got a 3 to 5 day swing trade to the upside of 5816. This is similar to buying a settlement above 570, let's say, in the SPY and taking, riding it for a 10-point move up to 581, 582. Until then, though, we can fall away from 570 back to 5513. I don't know if I answered your question well or not.
No, you
Kenny.
did. You did. Monday I would be more patient on Monday, but I'll probably take action to see what the market gives me on after Monday. That's
Sure.
how. Yeah, no, but I get what you're saying. You're 100%. You're 100% accurate.
Okay. I'm going to throw a few stocks that I see are opportunities right now that we haven't discussed. Amazon is a big deal, obviously, and it is. We've been watching this closely at wickedstocks.com. It's in the process of testing. Well, January 23. This is a 2-year channel structure at 192.15. So once again, Amazon is presenting a buy opportunity. Now that's a buy opportunity on weakness, and a lot of traders are reluctant to buy a stock on weakness, as bottom picking 192.15 would be. I don't have a problem bottom picking because I always have pretty good risk management. I never risk more than 2% of my trading capital on any given trade. I'm usually well under 1% on any loss. And so I would buy 192.15 and put my stop loss in maybe below last week's 189.38 low. In any event, I show strength with a settlement above 199.32. If I were looking at this structure, this 2-year channel bottom, you could buy 192.15 and you're anticipating upward rotation to 251.60 and climbing over the next, this rally was from August until February. This is about a 6-month rally. So I call this like a 3 to 5 month, maybe into later year rally where we could appreciate, by what is this, about 20% anyway, 25%. In fact, this channel top is climbing over time, so it would be more than that. And if we close above 199.32 at the end of this week, that is your next buy opportunity on strength rather than bottom picking weakness. Now, if we close below 192.15 in Amazon, then I expect a continued price decay. And I do think that this 5/8 Fibonacci would be in reach over the next 3 to 5 months. This is a big deal if we take out the 2-year channel bottom. And I think we could see, a collapse of, what would this be? A 20, 30% back into the low 140s. I also see, bear with me here. This is a stock pick my son threw my way here this morning. On Holding AG, ONON. I think this is a sports company. They make sports equipment. It looks very similar to the Amazon channel bottom. Once again, testing 2-year channel support, 44.59. If you're reluctant to buy on weakness, bottom picking 44.59. You're buying on strength with a settlement above last week's high of 48.36. Either way, holding above 44.59. I see, I could say this is from August. Once again, August to January, a 6-month move. We could see another one of these into later year that would put us into the low 70s. What is 66.61 now is in the low 70s by then. So yeah, this is a solid opportunity, either buying weakness at 44.59 or you buy a strength with a settlement above 48.36. On the other hand, if we close below 44.59, I see the market. This would be a target number 1, and it could even get uglier as we move into later year. But for right now, I think the mid to upper 30s would be likely, 34.88 to 37.08. But On Holding is showing a buy opportunity at 44.59 that may well play out into later year. MSTR. I know you watch this stock, MicroStrategy. I just wanted to update us on what's happening with the big sell-off. Now we've got what I would call kind of a near-term ceiling at 344.68. This is sellable resistance. We can fall back into this low area perhaps within, a month or two of testing, 344.68. And that is basically, 231. I'm going to just round down there. We could fall back there within a month or two of testing 344.68. You've got a nice buy opportunity above 344.68. I don't see that this week. Maybe in the next couple of weeks we close above 344.68, and then we've got 423.55 as a 3 to 5 week target. So the way I would see MicroStrategy right now is you've got a 3 to 5 week sell opportunity at 344.68, allowing the market to fall back to 231. And if we close above 344.68, you have a 3 to 5 week buy opportunity of 423.55. If we can get up and over the 423.55, dropping weekly over the next couple of months, I think we've got a good low for the year, and this thing should take off again.
I feel like that's
Broadcom.
tethered to. I feel like MSRT is so tethered to Bitcoin because they buy so much of it this company. So they're very
I
tethered
see.
to Bitcoin. So it
Interesting.
kind of makes sense
It looks like
how
a
they're
Bitcoin
trailing.
chart, at least
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last 3 or 4
yeah.
weeks, you know?
It just makes
Mhm.
sense that they're trailing downwards when you look at the
Sure.
chart from a distance away. But
Yeah,
they're very tethered to Bitcoin. So April 4th is probably going to mean something to them as well.
I gotcha.
But 231 is kind of where my projection is at.
That they'll fall back into this zone?
Yeah, they'll definitely fall back in
Yeah.
the zone. It might be weakness buying opportunity or a strong put option or shorting play if it keeps
Mhm.
falling below, gets into that 190, 200 area.
Sure. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
buy MSRT with a settlement above
yeah,
344.68.
yeah,
I would take some profits at 423.55, but sometimes when you close above these inside channels, they are looking back over time the signal for longer term bullish continuation. But until then, I would just let this thing play out. I don't know if I would buy 231. This is like a triple bottom down here,
yeah. That
almost inclined to violate.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I said, like, if you are going to buy, it would be 231, but I think it's going to 231. But
hmm
besides that, I can see 200, 190 area.
There's your one.
Um,
There's
yeah,
200 right there. That old high.
yeah, I can see that coming soon.
hmm
Just the way Bitcoin is acting and with all the tariffs and stuff. And I think the companies like this, it's not because the company's going wrong. I think it's just the overall market is pushing the stock down.
Sure. I hear you. I'm going to go on to Broadcom. We showed this a few weeks ago. Still testing its 2-year channel bottom, has not closed below it, definitely violated it. But as long as we continue closing a week by week basis above this 190.11 channel bottom, this thing can continue higher to the 279.48 channel top in reach. Once again, I can take a look at what does precedent say. September 24, you've got December. This was a 4-month move here. 3 to 5 months, we could be pushing into the 270s, 280s, low 300s. The signal for that would be a settlement above this newly formed descending channel top at 216.07. So for the next few weeks, we could trade inside of 190.11 at 216.07. But 190.11 is the more significant. It has longer term trend identifying, qualities. And if we close above 216.07, we're no longer retesting this channel bottom, but rather should continue on up to 279.48 and climbing within a few months. Yeah, that was about all. And now Nvidia, I'm kind of catching us up here. I mentioned on your show, gosh, a month and a half ago, how this area was a good support, 108.89. It's still a solid support, above which we could actually see this trend line up here in the upper to mid 160s. This could be like, you can see this was August to November. This was like a 3-4 month play. 3 to 5 months from now, I wouldn't be surprised to see the upper 160s. Along the way, 135.37 will have a lot to say about that. It is a descending channel top that we consider a 3 to 5 week objective now. Every time we test 108.89 for the last few weeks, we mentioned now, okay, you're long, you're expecting the mid upper 130s, and that hasn't played out yet. I can draw just once again, just a simple high of the low this week, 121.11. You can see that black slash. If we close above 121.88, sorry, at the end of this week, we're just another 1 to 3 weeks from reaching 135.37, where profits can be taken. If any of your viewers or listeners were bottom picking this 107, 108 handle area, just know that closing above 121.88 is your sign that we'll probably see our objective sooner than later within 1 to 3 weeks, 135.37. But if we close below 108.11, then all bets are off. And I'm anticipating within 2 to 3 months continued declines into the upper 70s, this 2-year long-term channel bottom, able to contain selling through the rest of the year. And I'm not expecting it unless we close the week below 108.89. Tesla, 2 weeks ago, put out a big sell signal. Now, this, I call these church steeple rallies, these parabolic moves where they give it all back in symmetrical fashion. And on the way down, we took out this 2-year channel bottom 2 weeks ago, 261.55. This is your ceiling in Tesla through April and into May, and below which I do expect what I'm going to call a move ending support. 154.50 to 160.60, 5-year channel bottom. If tested over the next couple of months, and we are expecting it, can absorb selling through the rest of the year. And from here, we can get kind of locked into kind of a two-sided framework. But I don't expect to see any sort of significant hyperbolic rally like we saw. I mean, this move tells me that the high is in for a long time. I through the rest of the year and quite possibly well into 26. If we can close above 261.55, I'm then only anticipating 320.74, which is a 3/8 Fibonacci off the two extremes here. This would probably be within a month or two. And that lines up with some of these old highs here on the chart. We could fall from here as well. It's going to be a very stair-step rally. If we were to reach back up into these upper zones, I just don't see it. I think you can sell 261.55 if given the opportunity this week and buy back in the 150s, 160s. If we fall into the 150s, 160s, a solid buy opportunity like investment
Yeah.
level through the rest of the year. Were you going to say something, Kenny?
I completely agree. I honestly think if it gets back up to like the 265, 270 range, go ahead and put a sell or short position on and ride the wave down to 160.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that's very possible of happening. I don't see any upside in this chart right now. I see an upside at 154, 160 in those range.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly what I see too. Coinbase, just a reminder, this is also very similar to Bitcoin, but last time I was on your show, we were trading, I think, below this channel bottom, but then we officially closed below it last week. And now it is our ceiling, 199.50 for Coinbase. Coinbase looks weak to me. I think we can fall back to this kind of double top here over the next few months in the 114, 116 region, so long as we're below 199.50. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you're long Coinbase, you want to see the market close this week above 199.50. In fact, I'll throw another number your way, a 206.83. You see the black bar inside the yellow box. The 206.83 is the high of the low that was put out 2 weeks ago. So if we can close this week back above 199.50 and above 206.83, we've got a good move in, and we should see higher trade as we move into the later second quarter. But until then, this is a stock to be either out of or short, anticipating the mid 110s. Let's see here. I know there's one or two. I covered Apple. Lowe's. Take a quick look at Lowe's. Lowe's 2-year channel support. And we've been testing. There's a combination. Actually, I've got to back out of this to show how far back we go on this. This goes back to this is the COVID low. This speed line, rising 1/3 speed line, and a channel bottom in the same vicinity at 224.95. And this is an area that can contain selling through the year, really. This is a big support area. If we close below it, it's another story altogether. But as long as we don't close below 224.95 in lows, we should see not only 253.29 over the next month or two, where we could top out on a monthly basis. But I've got more here. Let's see here. Oh, actually, I'm going to go back to this chart. Yeah, I think that this channel top, just like I've been showing in the other charts, this is around 300 and climbing. I'm just going to round up, round down. It's like 199, 301 next week. I think 300, not out of the question. What's the timing of this? Well, this took a while. This is a year here. So from 224.95 up to 300, this could take the better part of a year. If we can close above the 253.29 channel top over the next couple of months, we've got a good low for the year. No more testing of the 224 area with a 3 to 5 month rally after that to 300 in reach. Downside, if we close this week below 224.95, then that's a pretty significant sell signal down to a long-term channel bottom that I show here at 193.18. So, that would be about a 20, not 20%, maybe a 15% break if we close below 224.95. But I'm really presenting this to show Lowe's, a big building company, definitely a recessionary sensitive home building, housing market stock. And if we can continue closing above 224.95, this tells me that we're not likely to go into a housing recession. I know it's soft right now, but that we can work our way through this. And later in the year, things could look pretty rosy for the overall housing market. But until then, if we close below 224.95, well, I see that this is the next quick target at 193.18. Anything else? I think I've showed. I think I've shown it all, Kenny. I've showed every
Man,
single stock that I had ready for today.
I feel like we went over all over the sector, man. To tell you the truth, man, with the housing market, Bitcoin, SPY, Apple, Tesla, those are like key like Broadcom, Nvidia. Those are like very key things that a lot of people pay attention to. And I feel also like they're also going to take effect when the tariff wars or the back and forth on April 4th, if it still continues, either what position you're going to take. I think that plays into effect. I think we covered a lot of it. And what April 4th is, what
It's a week from Friday.
and a week from
Yeah,
Friday. So
a week
yeah,
from this coming Friday. It's like almost 2 weeks away.
Yeah, so definitely there's also going to be another show out, and we'll recap and see what what placement is that, and I'll definitely we'll recap some of these and tell you what position I'm gonna tell you personally what position I'm gonna take to prepare for April 4th, because I do think taking a small position before April 4th is a good idea, definitely if you see something, but it's
Yeah,
still a gamble.
absolutely.
Still a gamble. Risk management is going to be extremely important. I always agree with the 1 or 2% risking of your portfolio.
Yeah, that's how you stay in the game. I mean, you can have a series of trades that return 10, 20, 30%, and you can give it all back with one bad trade. You know this. So you've got to
And
exercise good
everybody's
risk
been through
management.
that where they have given all their profits back before. Every trader, every investor has gone through that.
Right. All right, man. Well, I'll see you. We'll see you next week or something, right?
Man, peace. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate everybody that listened. And check out wickedstocks.com, option plays. You know what I mean? Also on YouTube, wickedstocks.com also give daily SPY, NVIDIA, Tesla as well.
The YouTube channel, just go to YouTube, Wicked Stocks, that has daily NVIDIA and daily Tesla. And if they're interested in daily SPY and triple Q, that requires a subscription to wickedstocks.com.
Please check that out. Please check that out. All right.
Thank you.
Peace.
Appreciate it.